Lucy Snow. Speak of a time gone by. My hair, which till late withstood the frosts of time, lies now at last white, under a white cap, like snow beneath snow. When I was a girl, I went twice a year to visit my godmother, Mrs. Bretton, a widow, and her son, Graham. They lived in a handsome house in the clean and ancient town of Bretton. Whether this was coincidence or because some remote ancestor had left his name to the neighbourhood, I know not. Time always flowed smoothly for me at my godmother's side, like the gliding of a full river through a plain. I liked peace so well, and sought stimulus so little, that when the latter came, I almost felt it a disturbance. One day, a letter arrived which caused Mrs. Bretton surprise. A little girl, I was told, would shortly be my companion. This little girl, it was added, had recently lost her mother. Her father's spirits had been seriously affected. The doctors insisted on travelling as a remedy, and meanwhile Mrs. Bretton, who was an old friend, had offered to take charge of the girl.
Poor child. What a night for her journey.
At last the doorbell announced the new arrival. I ran into the hall. At the foot of the staircase stood the servant with a shawled bundle in his arms.
Put me down, please.
Come here, little dear. Let me warm you at the fire.
Relieved of her shawl, the child appeared exceedingly tiny. She was a neat, completely fashioned little figure. Seated on my godmother's ample lap, she looked a mere doll.
Now, what is my little one's name?
Papa calls me Polly.
Will Polly be content to live with me?
Till Papa comes home. He is ill.
Her eyes filled. She slipped down and crept to a corner where the shade was deep.
Take no notice, Lucy.
But I did take notice. I watched Polly rest her small elbow on her small knee, her head on her hand. I observed her draw a pocket handkerchief from the doll pocket of her doll's skirt, and then I heard her weep.
I wish this was Papa's house. Papa!
Days passed. Whenever I found Paulina, the child called herself Polly, but her full name was Paulina Mary, seated in a corner alone, her head in her hand. That room seemed to be not inhabited, but haunted.
Papa! Papa!
One afternoon, Mrs. Bretton lifted her into the window seat and told her to count how many ladies should go down the street. She sat listlessly when I witnessed a startling transfiguration.
It is! It is!
Like a bird or a shaft or any other swift thing, she was gone. I, watching calmly from the window, saw her caught up by gentlemen and returned laughing to the house.
How's my daughterling?
Papa, how is Polly's papa?
Oh, Polly, sweet Polly, I could not leave without seeing you.
It was not a noisy, not a wordy scene. For that I was thankful. But it was a scene of feeling. During tea, she directed the servant as he placed the chairs.
Put Papa's chair here and mine near it. I must hand him his tea.
She is my comfort, Mrs. President.
What a blessing our children are.
Candidly speaking, I thought her a little busybody, but her father seemed perfectly content to let her wait on him, and even soothed by her comforting offices.
I do, yes.
My godmother's comfort arrived too in the course of that evening. We were seated round the fire when her son Graham joined our circle. He was at that time a handsome, spoilt, faithless-looking youth of 16. His eyes were piercing blue, but the colour of his hair, such as people did not venture to specify, except when he stood in the sun and they called it golden.
Mother, I see a young lady to whom I've not been introduced.
Now, Graham, I will not have that child teased.
Miss Home, your slave. John Graham Breton. I hope, ma'am, my mother's house appears to you a convenient place of abode?
Not particularly, as I shall not stay here long. I have to go with Pa soon.
One day, I will be your favourite, preferred even over Papa.
On the morning of Mr. Holmes' departure, he and his daughter had some conversation by themselves. He sobbed, but she, I remarked, did not. When the street door closed, she dropped on her knees.
Papa!
That day she would accept solace from none, nor the next. On the third evening, as she sat on the floor, worn and quiet, Graham, coming in, took her up gently. She did not resist. She laid her head against him, and he carried her upstairs. Now that her father was taken from her, Paulina nestled to Graham, and seemed to feel by his feelings, to exist in his existence.
Graham, here is your tea.
She had scarcely been at Breton 2 months, when a letter came from Mr. Home, saying that he was settled on the continent, and that he now wished his little girl to join him.
I wonder how she will take this news.
I wondered too.
Polly, should you like to travel? Perhaps in 20 years, when I'm grown up, Graham and I shall go to Switzerland, and someday we shall walk to the top of Kim Barroso.
I hastened to disclose the direction that she should immediately rejoin her dear papa. In the evening, at the moment Graham returned, I found her at my side.
Tell him I'm going.
I told him, but he barely answered. She crept to his side and lay down at his feet. He did not notice. That night I discovered her, cold and vigilant, perched like a white bird on the outside of the bed.
Shall I ever see him again?
I'm sure you will. Blow out your candle, Polly.
Do you like Graham, Miss Snow?
Yes, a little.
Are you a wise person?
I mean to try to be. Please, go to sleep, Polly.
I can't go to sleep. Have you no pain just here when you think you shall have to leave Graham?
Have you forgotten your father? Lie down.
Miss Snow, my bed is cold.
Come, child. Come to me.
I scarcely believed she would comply. She was such a strange little creature. She came, however, like a small ghost gliding over the carpet. I warmed her in my arms, and she slumbered. She left the next day, trembling like a leaf, but exercising self-command. A few weeks later, I too left. I would never see the place again. I will permit you to picture me, for the next 8 years, as a bark slumbering through halcyon weather in a harbour still as glass. A great many women and girls are supposed to pass their lives in that untroubled fashion. Why not I with the rest? However, it cannot be concealed that, in that case, I must somehow have fallen overboard, or that there must have been a wreck at last. I too well remember a time, a long time, of cold, of danger, of contention. In fine, the ship was lost. The crew perished. I was without family, without friends, without a home. I was alone. I complained to no one about these troubles. To whom could I complain? Of Mrs. Breton I had long lost sight. Graham, I heard, had trained as a doctor. Both he and his mother were now in London. When Miss Marchmont, an elderly maiden lady of our neighbourhood, heard of my bereaved lot, she sent for me, and I obeyed, in the hope that she might assign me some task I could undertake. She was a woman of fortune, but she was a rheumatic cripple, and had been so for 20 years. I need a companion, she said.
Though it will not be an easy life, for I require a good deal of attention, and you will be much confined. bit, perhaps, contrasted with the existence you have lately led, it may be tolerable. You look a worn-out creature.
2 hot, close rooms thus became my world, and a crippled old woman, my mistress, my friend, my all. I forgot that there were fields, woods, rivers, seas, an ever-changing sky outside the steam-dimmed lattice of this sick chamber. I was content to forget. One February night, I remember it well, I had put Miss Marchmont to bed. The wind was wailing at the windows. It had wailed all day, but as night deepened, a plaint trilled in every gust. I listened and trembled. Miss Marchmont slept. About midnight, the storm fell to a dead calm. Turning, I found Miss Marchmont awake.
Open the curtains, Lucy. Let me see the night. I am not a particularly good woman, but the year I loved, and the year I was loved, what a life I enjoyed. Oh, Frank. For what crime was I condemned, after 12 months of bliss, to undergo 30 years of sorrow?
Who was Frank? Was he your husband?
My lover, Lucy. It was Christmas Eve. I had dressed and decorated myself, expecting his visit. The clock neared 10 when I saw his horse, dragging something strangely dark. I ran out, but I think tears were in my eyes. He had strength to fold me in his arms. When the dawn of Christmas morning broke, my Frank was dead. That happened 30 years ago. But you see, I still think of him more than I think of God. What do you think, Lucy, of these things?
This question I could not answer. I had no words. In the morning she was found without life, nearly cold, but all calm and undisturbed. I was alone once more, unknown once more. I must look for a new place. My mistress, Miss Marchmont, was dead, and I was once more alone. A young woman without family, without friends. I was thin and hollow-eyed, like a sitter-up at night. To work was my only hope. A bold thought flashed to my mind. Go to London. What had I to lose? I arrived on a dark, raw and rainy evening in a Babylon under wilderness. In London for the first time, at an inn for the first time, tired with travelling, confused with darkness. I kept up well till I was shut into my room. But as I rested my head and arms on the pillow, a terrible oppression overcame me. What was I doing here alone in London? Whence did I come? Whither should I go? The next day was the 1st of March, and when I opened my curtain, I saw the risen sun struggling through fog. I had a sudden feeling as if I, who never yet truly lived, were at last about to taste life. That morning I got, I know not how, I got into the heart of city life. I got into the Strand, I went up Cornhill, I dared the perils of crossings. I was ready now to adopt a new, perhaps desperate line of action. I had nothing. If I failed, who save myself would suffer? The same evening I obtained information respecting the sailing of vessels for a continental port, Beaumarine, in the country of Labescour. I would pack my trunk that very night. Black was the water as a torrent of ink, with a chilly wind blowing in my face and midnight clouds dropping rain. I asked myself if I was wretched or terrified. I was neither. I could not tell how it was. We set sail the following morning. Another young lady was travelling alone like me, though she was pretty and fair, and the dignity of solitude was clearly not to her taste. She told me her name was...
Ginevra Fanshawe. Are you fond of a sea voyage?
I don't know. I've never made one.
Oh! I have made so many, I'm quite blasé about the sea and all that. Why do you smile?
Because you're so young to be blasé about anything.
I am 17.
You hardly look 16. Where are you going?
To the city of Valette, in Labascour. I have to go back to school. With the number of foreign schools I've been in my life, and yet I know nothing in the world. Where are you going?
I have not the least idea. My business is to earn a living.
Oh, how awful. My parents are poor. It is my uncle in France who educates us girls. One day we will marry, rather elderly gentlemen, I suppose, with cash. Are you clever?
Not at all.
Shall you be seasick?
Shall you?
Oh, immensely. I begin to feel it already.
She went. It was not long before the other passengers followed. I remained on deck alone. Deep was the pleasure I drank in with the sea breeze. I saw the continent of Europe, like a wide dreamland far away. Sunshine lay on it, making the long coast one line of gold. Cancel the whole of that, if you please. Becoming excessively sick, I faltered down into the cabin. The sea roughened. Miss Fanshawe declared with groans that she must die. Quarter of an hour later, a calm fell upon us all. Our voyage was over. I was sorry. Yes, I was sorry. The lights of the foreign seaport town met me like unnumbered threatening eyes. A whole family of friends surrounded Miss Fanshawe. Yet where should I go?
I do wish you had come to Madame Beck's school in Valette. She's looking for an English governess.
To Valette I would go. I knew I was catching at straws, but in the wide and weltering deep where I found myself, I would have caught at cobwebs. I had hoped we might reach the city ere night, but darkness had settled by the time we gained its suburbs. Now, my first business was to collect my trunk. I say this to you, but I could not say it then. I could say nothing. It was French, and French only. The whole world was gabbling around me. I stood apart, waiting and watching quietly the delivery of other boxes until I might see my own. It did not come. Approaching the conductor, I pointed to a trunk and tried to ask the question with my eyes. He misunderstood, seized it, and was about to hand it to me.
Let that alone, will you? C'est mal et moi.
Sir, I cannot speak French. May I entreat you to ask this man what he has done with my trunk? I would do the same for you. I don't know whether he smiled, but he took the conductor to one side, and I felt through all the storm of French that followed that he raked him fore and aft.
The fellow admits that the stagecoach was overloaded, and he left your trunk behind at Boomerine. He promises to forward it tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
Have you any friends in Valette?
No, I'm a stranger here.
I can give you the address of an inn. Your shortest way will be to cross the park, but it is too late for a woman to go alone. I will walk with you.
I followed him through the darkness and the small, soaking rain. The park was black as midnight. Not the least fear had I. I believe I would have followed that frank tread to the world's end.
Now, go along this street till you come to steps. At the bottom you'll find your inn. They speak English there, so your difficulties are over. Good night.
Good night, sir. And thank you. On I went, hurrying fast. Just then, 2 men came suddenly from behind me.
Jolie, mademoiselle! Où allez-vous? Mademoiselle? Où allez-vous?
Fast as I walked, they kept pace with me. At last I met a sort of patrol, and my dreaded hunters were turned from the pursuit. But I no longer knew where I was. What now? Seeing a light burning over the door of a large house, I hastened on. Yet no inn was this. A brass plate embellished the entrance. Pensionnat des Demoiselles. And beneath, a name. Madame Beck. 100 thoughts volleyed through my mind. Fate took me in her strong hand, mastered my will. I rang the doorbell.
Oui.
May I see Madame Beck? The next moment, I sat in a cold, glittering salon.
Vous êtes anglaise? You are English?
I almost bounded. Yet no ghost stood beside me. Merely a motherly, dumpy little woman in a large shawl, a wrapping gown, and a clean, trim nightcap. I said I was English. Madame Beck, for Madame Beck it was, she had entered by a little door behind me, partly understood me, but I did not at all understand her. I told her how I had left my own country, intent on extending my knowledge and gaining my bread, how I was ready to turn my hand to any useful thing.
Il n'y a que les Anglaises pour ces sortes d'entreprises.
She asked my name, my age. Never a gleam of sympathy crossed her countenance during the interview. I felt she was not one to be led an inch by her feelings.
So, you can give me a reference?
Is it required?
A reference is required if you wish to work.
I have no reference.
And your luggage, where is that?
It was left behind. I could not bear to return to the perils of the street. Just then a man's step was heard in the vestibule. A small, dark and spare man in spectacles entered. She called him.
Monsieur Paul, we know your skill in physiognomy. Read that face, my cousin.
I read it.
Et qu'en dites-vous?
Mais bien des choses.
May one trust her?
She's a stranger.
An English woman.
Do you need her services?
I need a nursemaid for my children.
Engage her.
And Madame did. She gave me the job of governess to her 3 young children. My devotions that evening were all thanksgiving. In the dead of night, I suddenly awoke. A white figure stood over me. She studied the hair under my cap, the hand lying on my bedclothes. This done, Madame Beck turned to the chair where my clothes lay. I opened my eyes carefully. She silently removed from my dress pocket a bunch of 3 keys. With these, she withdrew to her own room and took their impression in wax. All being done, my property was returned to its place, my clothes carefully refolded. Truly, I was in a foreign land. Yet here was a great house, full of healthy, lively girls. There were 100 pupils, 4 teachers, 8 masters, not to mention Madame Beck's 3 small children, now placed under my care. She ruled all these to perfection.
Surveillance, espionage.
Those were her watchwords. She would glide ghost-like through the house on slippers of silence, peering through every keyhole, listening behind every door. One day, I was giving her children their English lessons, when she came sauntering into the room.
Monsieur Wilson, the English master has been delayed. Would you object to giving a petite leçon?
In class, madame.
In class, Miss Lucy?
Now?
Oui, now?
Where there are 60 pupils. But they are young women, they are not children.
Bien. The girls are waiting.
I barely speak the language. My hand was taken in hers, and I was conducted downstairs. Just outside the class, she stopped and scrutinized my face. I believe I was crying.
Will you go backward or forward? Miss Lucy?
Forward. I will go forward. I will give the lesson.
Then follow me.
I shall never forget that first lesson. It seems that 3 bells in the first row had determined that a children's nursemaid should not teach them English. They opened the campaign by a series of titterings which soon swelled through the room into murmurs and laughs. All I could do was to walk up to Blanche, the eldest and most vicious, take from under her hand her exercise book, and in the face of the whole school, tear the blotted page in 2. There was silence. The remainder of the lesson passed in order and industry. When I came out of the class, Madame Beck was waiting.
Yes. Très bon, Miss Lucy. That will do.
She had been peeping through a spy hole the whole time. From that day, I ceased to be nursery governess and became English teacher in Villette. But if I thought this would bring an end to Madame's spying, I was very wrong. Time had passed since that first night I arrived a stranger in Villette, orphaned, friendless, alone. Now I lived and worked as an English teacher in Madame Beck's boarding school for girls, thinking my own thoughts, living my own life. I was content in my still, shadow world. Miss Ginevra Fanshawe, who I had first met on my sea journey to this country of Labassecour, was a thriving pupil. Sunday was a holiday which she passed with friends, and amongst these friends she speedily gave me to understand was one who would fain become something more. She called her suitor
Isidore. It's not his real name. It is only so ugly I have to give him a different one. Have you finished?
Sit still if you want me to do this hem. Do you encourage Isidore?
Furiously.
But if he loves you as much as you say, and nothing comes of it, he will be miserable.
Well, of course he will be miserable. I should be shocked and disappointed if he wasn't.
One evening when she was going to a party, she could not resist coming to my chamber to show herself in all her splendour. Beautiful she looked. I saw at a glance that her dress lacked none of those finishing details which cost so much. Did you buy those gloves yourself?
Oh, how disagreeably you express yourself. Well, in the first place, Grandma, I must go out. And if I go out, I must dress. Somebody who heard me complaining what straits I was put to for an ornament or 2, somebody far from grudging me a present, was quite delighted at the idea.
So Monsieur Isidore supplies your bouquets and your gloves?
I occasionally allow him the pleasure of offering me a trifle.
Oh, Ginevra, I believe you're doing wrong. Seriously wrong. Unless, of course, you love Monsieur Isidore. Might marry him.
Oh, of course I won't marry him. I danced with a young officer the other night, Count Alfred de Hamal, no less. And I love him 1,000 times more. Oh, I would never be a bourgeois wife.
It was about this same time that Madame Beck's second daughter, a pretty thing, fell down a flight of stone steps. Madame, hearing the noise, she always heard every noise, appeared from I know not where.
La petite enfant has a broken arm. Let Miss Lucy take her while I fetch a surgeon.
We, none of us, I suppose, looked very scrutinizingly at the new young doctor when he came. It was dark, and Fifine's cries were painful. Some assistance being needed, I reluctantly offered my hand. But Madame's was there first.
I will not tremble.
Very good, Madame. Very good.
Now I noticed that though the new young doctor spoke French, he spoke English better. I noticed more. As he passed me in leaving the room, I saw this was the same kind English gentleman who had helped me find my trunk the first night I arrived in Villette, who had been my guide through the Black Park. After that day I often saw him, and under his care Fifine recovered rapidly. Yet despite Madame's increasing praise and attention, he grew thoughtful and preoccupied. Me he never seemed to notice. I was of no more interest to him than another piece of furniture. I could then watch him freely. One day, while he sat in the sunshine, I was observing the colour of his hair, when a new idea riveted my attention.
Mademoiselle, is something wrong?
Wrong? No. I was only thinking... It doesn't matter.
I'm not vain enough to fancy that it is my merits which attract your attention. It must then be some defect. Dare I ask, what?
I did not speak. I could not. In quarters where we can never be rightly known, we take pleasure, I think, in being ignored. Besides, Fifine was recovered. I would not see him again. A hot summer came, and now Georgette, the youngest of Madame Beck's children, took a fever. Dr. John was called once more. Soon afterwards, one or two of the pupils fell ill, and though no one thought the prudent directress would permit the attendance of so young, so handsome a man on these young girls, she did. The whole house, pupils, teachers, servants included, affirmed that she had fallen in love. Nay, that she would marry him. Difference of age seemed no obstacle. It was to be so.
Our doctor is looking pale. Don't you think, Miss Lucy? Must we force him to rest?
I am well enough, Madame Beck.
If Dr. John is not ill, maybe he has something on his mind.
Indeed, Miss Lucy. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça?
A trouble he cannot share.
Have we done something, Dr. John, to cause you trouble?
I assure you, Madame, if I have troubles, they are not caused by you.
He bowed and left. But for the first time in his presence, I had spoken more than a monosyllable. Madame, meanwhile, had dropped into his chair. One single white hair streaked her nut-brown tresses. She plucked it out with a shudder. Never had I pitied her before, but my heart softened now.
Everything I have made myself. What use to me is feeling.
From that day she changed. If she had any feelings for Dr. John, she overcame them. There went a story that Madame Beck's house had once been a convent, and tale went too of the ghost of a nun. At the foot of a Methuselah of a pear tree in the garden, you saw, in scraping away the earth, a glimpse of slab. Legend went that deep beneath lay the bones of a girl, whom monks in the Middle Ages had buried alive for some sin against her vow. Independently of romantic rubbish, that old garden had its charms. On one side there ran a narrow alley overlooked by the boarding houses of the neighbouring college and forbidden to the pupils. The seclusion, the very gloom of the walk attracted me. I made myself gardener of some tintless flowers, and I cleared away the weeds choking a rustic seat. One early evening, I was sitting on this hidden seat, listening to the sounds of the city and watching the moon. All at once I heard a sound. A window from the college wall above me opened.
Hey!
Ere I had time to look up and mark how a tree overhead shook, as if struck, and something dropped at my feet. It was a small ivory box. Inside, a letter. Was this for me? Oh, I did not dream it for one moment. I went to church and I took walks, and I am very well convinced that nobody minded me. I read.
Angel, how I feared you would not be there, or worse, that I should see only the English dragon. But why, my angel, will you not look up? Ever thine, thou well knowest whom.
Thou well knowest whom. I wished I did. Minutes later, the glass door of the schoolhouse opened, and someone rushed into the garden.
Vous n'avez pas le droit d'aller dans le jardin. It is not allowed at this hour.
Just quickly, Rosine, please.
He searched down the alleys, looking on this side and on that, trampling flowers and breaking branches in his search, until I met him like a ghost. Dr. John?
What?
Are you looking for this box?
Do not betray her.
I cannot betray what I do not know. There is a note, but it explains nothing.
Well, give it to me. This is too much. This is cruel. What will you do? Will you tell Madame Beck? Shh. Someone's coming.
Behold, Madame, in shawl and slippers, softly descending the steps and stealing like a cat round the garden. As she turned a corner, Dr. John took the garden at 2 noiseless bounds. He was gone, and so was the casket. That evening, I mounted the staircase and quietly opened the dormitory door. The sound of a drawer being cautiously slid out struck my ear. Stepping to one side, I saw a dumpy, motherly little body, hard at work. Not a paper of mine but was glanced over. Not a little box but was unlidded. I turned and fled in silence. That night, a thunderstorm shook us in our beds. The Catholics rose in panic and prayed. As for me, the tempest took hold of me with tyranny. I threw open my casement and sat on its ledge. I could not go in. Too resistless was the delight of staying with the wild, dark hour. Complicated, disquieting thoughts broke up the whole repose of my nature. The storm subsided, and in time so did my turmoil. The next day I was again Lucy Snow. One thing still puzzled me. How was it that Dr. John, if he had not been accessory to the dropping of that casket, should have known that it was dropped, and appeared so promptly on the spot to seek it? Dared I ask him? A few nights later, Madame Beck provided the opportunity.
Georgette has a fever. I will call on Dr. John. You will receive him. For my part, I shall be out, doing errands.
Now I knew the child was well enough. Moreover, this was the first time she had chosen to absent herself on the occasion of a visit from Dr. John. The whole arrangement indicated some plan. After half an hour, I heard his quick step on the stair. Rosine, the young portress, opened the door and introduced him. She clearly had something on her mind.
Donc, le petit coffre à bijoux. Did you get it?
I found it, yes.
So who threw it?
Well, I was attending a patient in the college nearby. I saw it dropped out of his window. I came to pick it up for him.
Bof, il n'a pas de mystère. No love intrigue.
None at all.
He gave her a piece of gold, and she danced off. Looking out at the garden, I saw the same window opposite suddenly open. There, they have gone and done it again. Someone waved a handkerchief and then something fell.
Go, at once. Pick it up and bring it back. Nobody will notice you.
Straight I went. After some little search, I found a folded paper. I brought it direct to Dr. John, and he tore the letter into pieces.
It's not her fault. You must remember, this is nothing to do with her.
Who? Who is she?
I know the worthless young man who, from the college opposite, has now twice invaded the sanctity of this garden with his letters. I have also met the angel, at whom his vulgar attempts are aimed. I would guard her from evil if I could, but I cannot come near her.
I will help you. I will do anything you wish. Only tell me who she is.
But you must know who. You see her every day, so good, so beautiful.
Do you mean Madame Beck?
I mean, of course. Someone's at the door.
Dr. John, you are here. I seem to have caught a cold.
Madame, oh, excellent woman, was on duty. She had returned to spy on us, and if she had not sneezed, we might both have heard everything. For now, like the identity of Isidore, Dr. John's angel must remain wrapped in mystery. Who, oh, who did he love? As English teacher at Madame Beck's schoolhouse in Villette, my time was well and profitably filled. And now an important ceremony, none other than Madame's birthday, awaited celebration. There would be a play for families and friends with pupils and teachers for actors, followed by a dance. The play was the main point, a month's previous drilling being required by Monsieur Paul. As I sat alone in the garden, I would hear him.
No, no! Are you mere dolls? Is your flesh snow? Your blood ice? I want this to have soul!
The great day arrived. Teachers and pupils descended to breakfast in dressing gowns and curl papers. I sought a crepe-like dress of purple grey, the colour of mist lying on a moor in bloom. In this gown of shadow, I felt at home. Suddenly, the door of my sanctuary burst open.
Where is the Englishwoman?
Monsieur Paul?
I know what you can do. Play you can, play you must.
Act? In the play?
One of the girls has fallen ill. There are a few hours left to learn her part, and no one else will do it. I appeal to an Englishwoman to rescue me.
1,000 objections rushed into my mind. The foreign language, the public display. But looking up at Monsieur Paul and seeing in his fiery eye a sort of appeal behind all its menace, my lips dropped the word, yes.
You will?
I will.
Yeah. Here is the book. You must be alone to learn. Come, we have no time to lose.
To the solitary and lofty attic was I borne, put in and locked. The key he took with him, and then he vanished. Now, the attic was no pleasant place. I believe he did not know this, or he would not have left me there so long. In this summer weather, it was hot as Africa. Well was it known to be tenanted by rats, black beetles, and cockroaches. Nay, I had heard that the ghostly nun had once been seen here. I began to read, and a shiver passed over me. It was a disagreeable part, a man's, an empty-headed fop's. One could put it into neither heart nor soul. Yet I learned and learned on, first in a whisper and then aloud. Day began to glide into evening, and the shadows grew all around me. At last came the long-delayed rattle in the key of the lock.
It is time. It is time.
In a moment, the inverse repetition of the impetus which had brought me up to the attic instantly took me down. How Monsieur Paul knew that I would like a cream cake, I cannot tell. But he went out and procured me one.
Now, mademoiselle, do you feel the courage and strength to appear?
I will do my best, but I wish it was over.
Écoutez, do not look out of the crowd. Imagine yourself up in the garret, acting to the rats.
That night, I thought of nothing but the person I played, and of Monsieur Paul who was listening, watching in the side scenes. What I felt and did, I no more expected to feel and do than to be lifted in a trance to the seventh heaven. I know not what possessed me. I had accepted a part to please another. Ere long, I acted to please myself. No sooner was the play over than Monsieur Paul underwent a metamorphosis. He announced his determination that each of us should be his dancing partner at the ball.
You too, Miss Lucy? I shall not spare you.
I have acted enough for one evening. I will sit at the side and watch. Yes, I must put aside my strength and longing. It would not do for a mere looker-on in life. Leave such delights to Ginevra Fanshawe, the sparkling pupil I had met on my journey to Villette. She lived her full life in a ballroom. She fed on creams and ices like a hummingbird on honey paste. When she was at last tired of dancing, she threw herself on the bench beside me.
Lucy Snow, Lucy Snow.
What in the world is the matter with you?
How do I look?
As vain as usual.
Ha! I know I am beautiful. This very night I have been breaking the hearts of 2 gentlemen. I would not be you for a kingdom.
Is that so?
I suppose you are nobody's daughter. You have no relations. You can't call yourself young at 23. You have no beauty. You never were in love. And you never will be. Isn't that all true?
A good deal of it is true as gospel. At least you are honest. But you were talking of breaking hearts. On whom does your vanity lead you to think you have done execution tonight?
Isidore and Alfred de Hamal are both here. Come with me. I will point them out.
I believe I could have picked out the conquering de Hamal undirected. He was a straight-nosed, very correct-featured little dandy, pretty and smooth and trim as a doll.
What do you think?
He's very sweet. And look, his hands are so petite. You'll be able to share gloves. Now for Isidore.
Ugh, I'm ashamed. He has such orange hair. Where is he gone?
Ladies, you're standing in a draught. Miss Fanshawe is delicate. Fetch her a shawl.
Permit me to judge for myself, Dr. John, whether or not I am delicate. I need no shawl.
The answer Dr. John would have given did not come. That his heart was hurt became evident in his eye. I knew where there were plenty of shawls. I ran and fetched one and folded it well round her. Dr. John walked on.
He is always fussing.
Is he Isidore?
How coarse he is, compared with the Colonel Count. And then, oh heavens, the hair!
Ginevra, is it possible? That fine, generous gentleman offers you his hand and heart, and you hang back. You scorn, you torture him.
Him you call the gentleman is bourgeois, and answers to the name of John. And he is so serious. Colonel de Hamal is a gentleman with excellent connections, perfect manners, and eyes like an Italian. A man quite in my own way.
She darted off. I did not care to pursue her. Later, I met Dr. John on the garden steps, standing where the light fell from a window. I had only meant to view him, myself unseen, but he found me.
You know Miss Fanshawe?
Yes, I know her.
Does she ever speak of me?
I have only just realized that you are Isidore. Indeed, I've only just realized that she is the magnet which draws you here. That for her sake you seek caskets dropped from the sky by rivals.
I love Miss Fanshawe far more than de Hamal loves any human being, including himself, Lucy. What shall I do?
Be hopeful, Dr. John. Who should hope if not you? We parted, and I went into the house very chill. The party was over. Following Madame Beck's birthday came 2 months of hard study. Monsieur Paul took upon himself the duty of public examiner, and it irked him that he was forced to make one exception. He could not manage English.
How much you must be looking forward to another chance for public display tomorrow, Other people in this house see you pass and think you are a shadow. As for me, I looked into your face once. I watched you on that stage. Not mere light, but flame.
I hated the part you gave me, and I will hate the public display tomorrow.
You would prefer me to do it?
With all my heart. if you are not afraid of failing.
Give me your hand. We should not be rivals. We will be friends. Do you agree?
Out of my heart, monsieur. More than anything, I am glad of a friend. Monsieur Paul was as good as his word, and did his best to make my part easy. The examination passed, the school broke up, the pupils went home, and now began the long vacation. That vacation. Shall I ever forget it? But for me and one servant, the house was left quite empty. My spirits had long been sinking. Now that the prop of employment was withdrawn, they went down fast. A fever forbade me to rest. A want of companionship maintained in my soul the cravings of a most deadly famine. I walked each day, through the burning noon and the arid afternoon, and came back with moonrise. Nothing was beautiful to me. I almost wished to be covered in with earth and turf. At last, a day and night of peculiarly agonizing depression was succeeded by physical illness, and I took to my bed. About this time the storms began, and for 9 dark and wet days I lay in a strange fever. Sleep went quite away. For me there was no one. Motive was there none why I should try to recover or wish to live. The next morning the servant urged me to call in a doctor. I would not. No doctor could cure me. One evening, and I was not delirious, I was in my sane mind, I got up and dressed myself, weak and shaking. Outside it rained still and blew, but I must get out from under this house roof, which crushed me like the slab of a tomb. Wrapped in a loose cloak, I escaped into the wet streets. The bells of a church arrested me in passing. They seemed to call me, and I went in. It was an old, solemn church. A few worshippers were here, and those left remained to confess. A pale lady, kneeling near me, spoke in a kind voice.
Pardon, I am not quite prepared.
Mechanically obedient, I rose and went. The priest within the confessional inclined his ear to my lips. I am a Protestant, Father.
If you are Protestant, why are you here? Is it a sin? A crime?
I said I was perishing for a word of comfort. I had been living for some weeks alone. Now I had a pressure of affliction on my mind, which I could no longer endure. He looked thoughtful.
You have come to me and poured out your heart, a thing seldom done. Go, my daughter, for the present, but you and I must speak again.
Twilight had passed into night, and the lamps were lit in the streets ere I issued from that sombre church. If the storm had lulled a little at sunset, it made up now for lost time. It brought rain like spray, and sometimes a sharp hail like shot. I tried to reach the porch of a great building for shelter, but the giant spire turned dark and vanished from my eyes.
Mademoiselle!
I seemed to pitch headlong down an abyss. The world was black and empty, without friend, without hope. I remember no more. After weeks of solitude and fever, I, a Protestant, had made my confession in a Catholic church. As I returned through the storm, the world had turned black and I fell. Where my soul went during that swoon, I cannot tell. She may have gone upward, hoping for rest. An angel may have warned her away and bound her once more to that poor frame, cold and wasted, of whose companionship she was grown more than weary? I do not know. In time, I saw I had been moved from the street where I fell. Into some house I had been carried, but where? This was a pleasant parlour, with a wood fire on a shining hearth and a mirror. In its reflection I saw myself laid on a sofa, my eyes hollow, my face ashen. Yet something here was familiar. Little pictures, ornaments, the blue damask furniture. These furnished the drawing-room of my godmother's house at Breton. But Breton and my godmother I had not seen for more than 8 years. Was I in a dream? A fever fit? And who was this sitting beside me, watching for signs of life?
Don't be afraid.
She was little changed. Something sterner, but here was my godmother. Here was Mrs. Breton. Me she did not know. How could she? I barely knew myself. Where am I?
In a safe place.
How was I found?
My son will tell you later. For now, you must sleep.
Her son? Was Graham here too? When I next awoke, the room was dark and empty. The ceaseless blast still blew wild and cold, and the rain streamed on. I must get up. I must not be alone.
Dressed?
Oh, please let me go downstairs, madam.
Come then. Here is my arm. Oh, I don't know what my son will say.
A tall door, standing open, showed a blue damask room. Tea stood ready on the table. An English tea, whereof the whole shining service glanced at me familiarly.
How is your patient, Mamma?
Here she is. She can tell you herself.
I was alarmed last night. You must be better.
I am. Much better. Much better. Thank you, Dr. John, for this tall young man, this darling son, this Graham Breton, was Dr. John. He and no other. And what is more, I had known it for a long time. How could I not remember those eyes, that smile? But I had kept this to myself. Hidden as if by a cloud, I had freely watched him shine. It was my habit.
I have seldom seen a stronger likeness. Graham, look at her.
Mamma.
Look, foolish boy, look. Who is she like?
Dr. John has had so much to do and think of since we were children. I did not expect him to remember Lucy Snow.
Lucy Snow! I thought so. I knew it. Oh.
Lucy Snow? Lucy! All this time I've known you at Madame Beck's school, and you said nothing.
You never asked. I waited, but you never did.
And yet you knew it was me.
I remember the day I realised. You caught me staring.
Yes! I was even cross.
You see how it was now.
Stupid boy. How could you not know Lucy?
And here Mrs. Breton broke in with many, many questions about past times. She told me of changes they too had known. In the profession he had adopted, Dr. John's success, she said, was decided. Within the last 3 months he had taken this house, which they called La Terrasse, for himself and Mrs. Breton, and furnished it with all those possessions I had recognised from long ago. When I said my prayers that night, I felt that I had friends. I must not think of them too much. I must not need them more than they need me. I must not think of them too much. Still repeating this, I turned to my pillow, and still repeating it, I steeped that pillow with tears. I tried to get up the next morning, but while I was dressing with trembling weakness, in came Mrs. Breton. In 2 minutes she had consigned me back to bed.
There you lie till afternoon. My boy left orders before he went out, and I can assure you my son must be obeyed. He says, Lucy, he thinks you have had A nervous fever. Is that so?
I replied that I did not quite know, but that I had suffered a good deal, especially in mind. She left me, and I lay in bed content. It was good of Graham to remember me.
Cheerful society is what you need, Lucy. You should be as little alone as possible.
Is that so?
Are you become a Catholic, Lucy?
Why?
It was a Catholic priest who found you last night. He told Graham you had been to him to confess. He thought it a Christian duty to watch you when you left.
I cannot explain, but my days and nights were grown intolerable. All I poured out was a desperate complaint. There was no sense to it.
Well, Père Silas, old as he is, insisted on carrying you upstairs. Are you a Catholic?
No, and never let Père Silas know where I live, or he will try to convert me. But give him my best thanks when you see him. During the first days of my stay at La Terrasse, Graham never took a seat near me or looked preoccupied, but I knew he thought of Miss Ginevra Fanshawe, the coquettish pupil of Madame Beck's, who was made for sweet cake and dancing.
Your friend is spending her vacation travelling, I hear.
My friend is.
Everything she does so well.
She does several things well.
When do you suppose she will return?
Pardon me, Dr. John, I must explain. I don't know Miss Fanshawe as well as you think.
I know the glitter of fashion misleads her, but at heart, Ginevra values you. And yet, while I comfort you, I cannot take the same consolation to myself. De Hamel is a most worthless man, yet I fear he pleases her. Oh, if only she could see him for what he is.
Dr. John, if only you could see her for what she is. On all points but one, you are a clear-sighted man. On this exceptional point, you are a slave. When I saw him again that evening, I knew I had done mischief. He seemed grave, perhaps cold. And yet there was no bad feeling in his countenance. After tea he sat sad and quiet, reading a book. I longed to go and sit near him. I longed to speak out. Dr. John, forgive my hasty words. Do forgive them.
Perhaps I deserved them. Can I think too much of Ginevra?
Let us agree to differ. But let me be pardoned. That is all I ask.
I more than forgive you, Lucy. I know you wish me well.
From that day, he never stood on ceremony with me. He seemed to know that if he would only talk about himself and what interested him, I would be happy. It follows, as a matter of course, that I continued to hear much of Ginevra, but I strove to be patient. I had had my lesson. I had learned how severe for me was the pain of crossing, or grieving, or disappointing him. I would not do it again. Under his guidance, I saw, in that one happy fortnight, more of Villette than I had seen in the whole 8 months of my previous residence. And most of all, I liked to visit the picture galleries. One day, I found myself sitting in front of one particular portrait of portentous size, the queen of the collection. She was indeed extremely well fed and lay half reclined on a couch. Why, it would be difficult to say. She looked strong enough to do the work of several men. This notable production bore the name Cleopatra. Suddenly, a light tap visited my shoulder.
Que faites-vous ici?
I am amusing myself, Monsieur Paul.
Ah. Did you come here unaccompanied?
No, Monsieur. Dr. John brought me. He has gone now to see a patient.
And he told you to look at that picture? How dare you sit there so coolly?
I agree it is a very ugly picture, but I cannot at all see why I should not look at it.
I understand you have been ill.
I had a nervous fever.
Will you return to school?
Dr. John says I'm not yet strong enough.
Yet you gaze at the Cleopatra.
You are gazing at her.
You Protestant English women astonish me. You walk calmly amidst red-hot plowshares and escape burning.
When I looked again, he was gone. Truly a more despotic little man than Monsieur Paul never filled a professor's chair. One morning, Mrs. Bretton asked me to show her my dresses, which I did without a word. 2 days after came home a pink dress.
And you will wear it this evening.
A pink dress. My godmother went on to decree that I was to go with her and Graham to a concert that same night. In short, the pink dress went on. When Graham saw me, I bowed my head, but he smiled. Since Graham found in my dress nothing absurd, I became reconciled. The concert hall was filled that night with a splendid assemblage. Scouring the audience, I saw someone else I knew. Miss Fanshawe is here. Have you seen her?
I have. De Hamel is with her too. They've been laughing at her neighbours.
Which neighbours?
Oh, myself. And my mother.
Oh, think nothing of it, Dr. John. She's a feather-brained schoolgirl.
3 days, 3 hours ago, I was very much her slave. She could not in 10 years have done what, in a moment, she has done in laughing at my mother.
He stopped. Never before had I seen so much fire and so little sunshine in Dr. John's blue eye.
Ginevra is neither a pure angel nor a pure-minded woman. I need some air, Lucy.
The first recital was over, and the whole hall was in a stir. Happening to glance round, indeed, I half fancied I heard my name pronounced. I saw Monsieur Paul. He stood looking at me gravely and intently, or rather at my pink dress. I turned my face to the sleeve of Dr. John's coat.
To speak the plain truth, I felt a new thing tonight. I would not be the man to trust her.
I am glad to see you free, yet be at the same time just.
Dear little Lucy. Who is that savage man? He's looking straight at you.
Oh, only one of the teachers at Madame Beck's. A very cross little man. Shall we go? Dawn was already breaking before we gained our chambers. I took off my pink dress that night with happier feelings. Beside Graham was rest and refuge, around him fostering sunshine. Oh, if only I might stay in such a place forever. After 2 weeks of convalescence at La Terrasse with my godmother and Dr. John, how I dreaded my return to school. How I dreaded Madame Beck's smooth indifference and Monsieur Paul's fiery scorn.
Lucy, shall you feel very solitary here?
At first.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write. Any nonsense that comes into my head. Now go in, before you catch a cold.
He was gone. And will Graham really write? I questioned, as I sank tired on the edge of the bed. Reason told me he would not. The next day I awoke with a start, remembering where I was. I descended alone to the refectory where the stove was lit and no one would trouble me. I looked up and found 2 dark eyes watching mine.
Mademoiselle, you are sad.
I have a right to be sad, Monsieur Paul.
You grieve at being parted from friends. Is it not so?
He sat down on the bench and persevered long and, for him, patiently, in attempts to draw me into conversation. I could not talk. I entreated to be let alone and wept bitterly until he was gone. A fortnight passed. I was getting once more inured to the harness of school, when one afternoon Monsieur Paul broke upon the class like a clap of thunder and stopped at my desk.
This is for you.
A letter.
Are you not going to open it?
Not yet.
You save it then, like something special.
I will read it later. It is only from a friend. That night, When all was still in the house, I silently mounted the stairs and dived into the deep, cold attic. I forgot the day I had spent here, locked in by Monsieur Paul while I learnt his play. I forgot, too, the stories of the ghostly nun. Here, no one would follow me, not even Madame herself. Dr. John had written to me at length. The poor English teacher in the solitary attic, reading a letter simply good-natured, nothing more, was happier than most queens in palaces. Suddenly, something sounded strangely. I turned. My light was dim, the room was long, but as I live, I saw, in that room, on that night, an image like a nun. There's something in the attic! I saw it! Madame Beck's salon was bright and full of people. I said they must come. They must see what I had seen. And now I remembered my letter. I flew upstairs. I groped on the attic floor, wringing my hands wildly. They have taken my letter.
What letter, Lucy?
Oh, Dr. John.
Madame Beck sent for me. I was sitting in the room when you ran in.
I saved your letter all day. I can't lose it now.
Here it is. Here, look. Though it is not worth your pain.
A warm hand, taking my cold fingers, led me down to a room where there was a fire. Dr. John asked me, smiling, why I cared for his letter so very much. I thought, but did not say, that I prized it like the blood in my veins. From now on, a new creed became mine. A belief in happiness. After a matter of weeks, I possessed, hidden in my workbox, 5 letters. He did not forget me, and one evening in December, he even took me to the theatre to see the great actress Vashti. I had seen acting before, but never anything like this. Never anything which disclosed power like a deep, swollen winter river bearing the soul like a leaf. Towards midnight, when the deepening tragedy blackened to the death scene, and all held their breath, and even Graham bit his underlip, just then a stir rustled behind the scenes. A flame, a smell of smoke.
Fire! Fire!
Then came panic, a blind, selfish chaos. A young girl who'd been clinging to a gentleman in front of us was suddenly hurled under the feet of the crowd.
I'm a doctor! Let us through, we must get her to the air.
Ow, my shoulder.
She's very light. Is she a child, Lucy?
I'm not a child, I'm 17.
The girl was a small, delicate creature. Her injuries, it seems, were not dangerous. Her father expressed his obligations to Graham and begged him to call the next day. Next morning's papers explained that the fire had been quenched in a moment. Following that eventful evening at the theatre came for me 7 weeks as bare as 7 sheets of blank paper. The letter, the well-beloved letter, would not come. All I had was the little packet of 5, and I knew them word for word. I pined. I grew thin as a shadow.
Oh, I have had a stupid evening. My uncle de Bassompierre is here. Now that he's inherited his mother's estate, he's taken her name and there is no pleasing him. Then there is Missy, my cousin. It seems she was nearly crushed to a jelly in a hubbub at the theatre some weeks ago.
This lady is your cousin?
Dr. John has been attending her ever since. You should see how they all fawn over her. Now what's wrong? You look as if you'd seen a ghost.
Oh, I was forgotten. I saw it now. Yet the next morning, a white object lay on my desk. A white, flat object. Did he remember me yet? At 5 this afternoon, I will send the carriage to bring you out to La Terrasse. Be sure to come. You may meet some old acquaintance. Very truly yours, Louisa Breton. Life is still life, whatever its pangs. And though the keen, still cold of the morning was succeeded by a snowy tempest. At 6 o'clock I was helped from the carriage and put in at the door of La Terrasse. Had I been twice as cold as I was, Mrs. Breton's kind kiss would have warmed me. She professed to discover that the snow wind had disordered my hair and sent me upstairs to make it neat. In front of the glass appeared something dressing itself, an airy, fairy thing, small, slight, white, a winter spirit.
Ah, you are come.
Miss de Bassompierre?
You are changed, but you still are yourself.
I think I never met you till that night, some weeks ago when you were hurt.
You have forgotten the night when I came crying to your bedside, and you took me in. Go back to Breton. Remember Mr. Home?
And you are little Polly.
I am Paulina Mary Home de Bassompierre. You think I've forgotten whom I liked when I was a child?
You and Graham were once playmates.
Do you remember that?
To you he was partial.
Partial to me? No.
That evening I was disposed for silence. The sky, relieved of its avalanche, lay naked and pale, and the moon shone white as a world of ice. It was not late when we heard the return of the carriage. Paulina half turned when Graham's step was heard. They spoke, but only a word or two. After dinner both were quiet. Graham followed with his eye the gilded glance of Paulina's thimble, as if it had been some bright moth on the wing. I left the next morning. I knew there would be no more letters. Though stoical, I was not quite a stoic. Tears streamed fast on my hands, my desk. It was time to bury this treasure of mine. I put the letters in a thick glass jar, which I sealed. As the moon rose, I shawled myself and, taking the jar, stole out into the forbidden walk. Methuselah, the old pear tree, stood at the further end. There was a deep hollow near his root. I cleared away the ivy, and I thrust the jar deep in. This done, I rested, lingering like any other mourner beside a new grave. Suddenly, a ray of light gleamed before me. I stood about 3 yards from a tall, snowy-veiled woman. "Who are you?" She had no face, no features, but she had eyes. I stretched out my hand. I drew nearer. A mass of shrubs came between us. When I looked again, she was gone. This time, there was no Dr. John to comfort me. If I felt sadness, all around me there was excitement. A lecture was to be given by one of the city's most esteemed professors. Monsieur de Bassompierre was to attend. His fair daughter, Paulina, would, of course, be of the party, and she wrote a little note to her cousin Ginevra and myself bidding us to join her. I had not heard which professor was to give the lecture that evening, though I think I was glad to discover it was Monsieur Paul. He spoke of tyranny. Oh, then there opened a light in his eye. They gave him a long, loud, ringing cheer as he concluded. At dinner, Ginevra and Paulina each looked, in her own way, very beautiful. It was about 3 months since Dr. John had spoken to me, a lapse of which he was not even conscious. He sat beside me and fell silent. By now the room was filling with new guests. I saw at the doorway a severe, dark outline, and smiled. Monsieur Paul made a movement to approach, but noticing Dr. John, he seemed to change his mind.
Do you remember Miss de Bassompierre when she used to stay with us? Was I kind to her? What was I like?
Very gracious. She was fond of you.
Look at her eyes. Do you think she remembers? I wish I could tell her. Or rather, I wish someone else could. Would you do that for me, Lucy? quiet Lucy Snow?
I felt my fingers interlock. I saw his entire misapprehension of my character. He did not guess at all what I felt. He did not read my eyes, or face, or gesture. And now a sharp hiss pierced my ear.
Savage, your soul is on fire.
Yes, I have fire in my soul, and I have reason. Of this Dr. John caught every word. He put his handkerchief to his face and laughed. Suddenly a space appeared near Miss de Bassompierre, and he rose. How well he looked now! His colour as he spoke to Paulina became half a blush, half a glow. It was late. Oh, I must leave. I must find Ginevra and get away.
The night is cold.
Is it?
Friends, do not quarrel for a word. Forgive me, Miss Lucy.
I forgive you.
My friend, please, call me your friend.
I do.
Then say it.
I forgive you, my friend.
Thank you.
You should have seen him smile. His very complexion lightened. I know not that I have ever seen in any other human face an equal metamorphosis from a similar cause. He led me to my carriage beneath a sky of stars. Nearly a year had passed since that cold night when I had first arrived in Villette. Then I had been without work, without a friend. Now I was a trusted teacher at Madame Beck's school with her first class under my care. But friends, were they here too? It was almost Monsieur Paul's birthday. He did not wish for any article of value. A gold snuff-box, I heard, would please him less than a flower. Such was his nature. One morning I sat working on a piece of embroidery and listening to him as he harangued the neighbouring class, when Rosine, the young and brazen portress, rushed to my side.
Mon Dieu, mademoiselle. He has an important message from Monsieur Paul. I have told Madame Beck I dare not deliver it, and she says you must do it.
What is the message?
An urgent summons to go directly to the assembly, as there is un visiteur officiel, Inspector je ne sais pas, and Monsieur must meet him. You know how he hates a must.
I knew well enough. I opened the door and entered. His humour was visibly bad, almost at its worst. I am glad I was not really much afraid of him. I delivered the message. He would not hear a word of it.
I will not leave my class. They can send who they like.
Knowing this would not do, I gently pushed his bonnet towards his hand. As Lucy Snow's hapless luck would have it, it slid down the polished slope of his desk, catching his light steel-framed glasses, and they fell to the ground. Each clear pebble lens became a shivered and shapeless star. Now, indeed, dismay seized me.
You are resolved to have me quite blind and helpless in your hands.
He was not angry, not even grieved. For the real injury, he showed himself full of clemency. Taking his ruined glasses from my hand, he made his bow and went off in first-rate humour. Yet we were quarrelling again before night. It was the study hour, and we were sitting silent as nuns, when suddenly the door split open, and he swooped down beside me. I moved my sewing to one side and shuffled along the bench.
What? You don't want me as your neighbor? You treat me like a pariah? Is that what you want? So be it.
Everybody, get up! Allons-y!
He made all the girls file off to another table. He then placed me at one extremity of the long bench and fixed himself quite at the other.
Is this enough distance for you?
That is for you to judge.
What are you working on?
I'm making a watchguard.
For whom?
A friend.
How is it that of all the women I know, you are the most unpleasant?
I, monsieur.
You! I also venture to refer to a change I have noticed in your dress.
My dress, monsieur.
On one occasion, you have even appeared in a scarlet gown.
It was pink, and pale pink, too.
I would not want you to think that I speak in entire condemnation of the scarlet dress.
Pink!
I cannot deny that it looked rather well. I only advise that whenever you wear it, you do so as if it were grey. Good night.
I was up the next morning, an hour before daybreak, and finished my watchguard. I enclosed it in a small box, and then within the lid, I carefully engraved with my scissors point certain initials. Today was Monsieur Paul's birthday, and a very pretty spectacle awaited him in class. Pupils and teachers sat neatly arrayed, each bearing in her hand the prettiest spring flowers. I only had no bouquet. But hush, a step, the step. The little man looked well, very well.
Good morning, my friends.
The long train of offerings followed. This ceremony over, seats were resumed, and we sat in silence, expectant of a speech.
Is that all?
I might yet have made all right. But Monsieur Paul was so tragic and took my defection so seriously, he deserved to be vexed. I kept my box and sat insensate as any stone.
The first fine morning in spring, I will take everyone out to breakfast in the country. Such of them, at least, as I can call my friends.
Then I shall not be there.
That is your choice.
Gathering his flowers in his arms, he flashed out of the room, while I, hiding the little box in my desk, swept upstairs. A pang of regret I underwent that the gift had not been offered. I had meant to do it. Later, I remembered that desks in class were by no means secure places to leave incriminating little boxes, and crept back to retrieve it. Someone was there before me. My morning's anger melted. He turned.
I often visit your desk.
Did you think I don't know?
I bring you things to read, things I think you would like. But you don't read them.
I read them.
Yeah. And how do you know I put them there?
Because they smell of your cigars.
Why can we not be friends?
A fatalist would say, because we cannot.
Don't suppose that I wish you to have a passion for me.
Heavens!
Why do you start? Because I said passion? Well, I say it again. It may be dead, it may be buried, but it may come. When it is your birthday, I will not grudge a few centimes for a small offering.
Then you will be like me, monsieur. Here. This box is for you.
For me?
Open it.
But these are my initials?
I know. I put them there.
This is the watchguard you were working at last night.
The same.
You commenced it with the intention that it should be mine?
I did.
And offered on my birthday?
Yes.
This object is all mine?
That object is yours entirely. Monsieur opened his paletot and arranged the guard splendidly across his chest. We said little to one another for the rest of the day, yet I felt, somehow, that he was full of friendliness. On retiring, he wished me a good night and sweet dreams. And a good night and sweet dreams I had. Do not suppose that from that day Monsieur Paul became a changed character. No. He was naturally a little man of unreasonable moods. Sometimes it was right to stand still, to look up into his eyes, and to tell him that his requirements went beyond reason. To make matters worse, one morning a message came for me, delivered by Dr. John. Rosine strolled into the class now to repeat it.
He's so handsome, that young doctor. His eyes. Oh, it makes my heart giddy.
Why do you suffer her to speak to you like this?
Because it is how she talks. Besides, she speaks the truth.
You think?
Of course. The lesson he went on to give was such as to make us very glad when it terminated. At its close, the released pupils rushed out, half trembling, half exultant.
You will stay.
I need some fresh air. The room is stifling.
Stay! Your face is a mask. You say you are stupid, but you are clever, very clever.
I wish I was.
There is no place in this world for women of intellect. Placid mediocrity is what a man needs. Lovely mediocrity, don't you think? Don't you agree?
I wouldn't know. Please, may I go?
I haven't finished. Do you really think you are an idiot?
Not exactly. I am ignorant when it comes to arithmetic or Greek, but I sometimes, not always, feel a knowledge of my own.
Bien. On the next public examination day, you will take your place on stage and improvise a French composition without dictionary.
I cannot improvise. I never could.
Are you afraid that you will fail? It will do you good to fail.
I would pay a fine or undergo an imprisonment rather than write for show.
And yet there are certain people you like to impress. Supposing they asked you, what then? Would you refuse then?
I must get out of here. It is too hot.
Don't you think that I suffer too?
Spring was now advancing, and the weather warm. Sleepless nights entailed languid days. After a long walk one Sunday afternoon, I took refuge in my solitary sanctuary, the first class, and made of my desk a pillow. The door was open, and I watched Madame Beck and a party of friends walking under the orchard blossom. Amongst them was a handsome girl, whom I had heard once was a goddaughter of Monsieur Paul's. I watched her run up to him and put her arm through his. A curious sensation struck through me. A disagreeable sensation. But I refused to dwell upon it. At last I slept. On waking, I felt much at ease, not chill as I ought to have been. No wonder. I found a thick shawl wrapped warmly round me. Who would do this? Who was my friend? I went to my own alley, and there I paced up and down. Was there nothing more for me than solitude in life? Nothing. Pausing before the giant pear tree of the garden, I remembered the passage of feeling buried at its root. I remembered him. Good night, Dr. John. You are good. You are beautiful. But you are not mine. Good night. And God bless you.
Good night, mademoiselle. Oh. Or rather, good evening. Did the shawls keep you warm?
Did you fetch them?
I scarcely know anyone, Miss Lucy, who needs a friend more than you. You need watching and watching over, and it is well for you that I do this. Are you afraid?
I am cold.
Mademoiselle, do you Protestants believe in the supernatural?
No, but it has happened to me to experience impressions.
Here? In this house? I knew it. We are alike. There is affinity between us. Do you see it, mademoiselle, when you look in the glass? You were born under my star. I, too, have had my impressions. I have seen something more than once. A nun.
I, too, have seen her.
I mean to follow up the mystery. I mean...
He raised his head suddenly, We both looked up. There had been a strange and inexplicable sound, as if the branches of the tree above us had swayed of their own motion. Instantly, into our alley there came an apparition, black and white, with a sort of angry rush. Close to our faces, she swept swiftly past. Never had I seen her so clearly. As she went, the wind rose sobbing, the rain poured wild and cold. The whole night seemed to feel her. He told me he too had seen the ghost of the nun. What did she mean in coming to us both that night? We did not speak of her again. All this time, Paulina Mary had been travelling with her father. One mild morning I was walking a quiet boulevard, enjoying the benign April sun, when I saw them greeting Dr. John. He passed me at speed, hardly feeling the earth he skimmed. He looked very handsome.
Lucy! I was coming to see you tomorrow, but now you will come and see me.
And so the morrow's evening found me with her, she and I shut into her room.
What are your thoughts of Dr. John?
Did you hear from him while you were away?
Papa had letters from him, once or twice. Tell me what he's like.
He's a good man.
About 3 weeks ago, I found amongst letters from my father a note addressed to me. I never received a letter from a gentleman before. I took it upstairs and locked the door. Graham's hand is like himself, Lucy. It is beautiful.
I have seen it.
Lucy, life is said to be all disappointment. What have I done then to deserve such happiness? Graham loves me.
Does your father know?
Graham dares not approach him yet. Oh, but how will I wake Papa from his dream? He still thinks I'm his little girl.
Be in no hurry, Paulina. You two must be united. I knew it the first day I saw you together. Some lives are blessed. Others encounter weather wild and variable. It is the way it is. On the 1st of May, at Madame Beck's school, we had all noticed to be dressed and ready by 6 o'clock in the morning. Monsieur Paul was taking us for his birthday breakfast in the country. The morning broke calm as summer, with a light dew mist that promised heat. At 6 the bell rang, and we poured down the staircase. There stood our professor, wearing not his savage-looking bonnet grec, but a cheerful straw hat. He did not lead, nor follow us that morning, but walked along the line, giving a word to everyone. It was my wish, however, for a reason I had, to keep slightly aloof.
Are you avoiding me?
Not at all. Oh, my shawl.
The scarlet dress is here.
Pink.
Scarlet?
It is only cotton, and I find it washes better than any other.
Did you ever see anything like this English woman? And look at her hat, her gloves.
I'm flattered someone makes herself so beautiful for my walk.
My dress isn't beautiful, monsieur. It's neat.
I like neat.
Monsieur Paul marched us to a farm for a hearty breakfast. He was a man whom it made happy to see others happy. Before we feasted, he asked the youngest of the party to say a prayer. I had never seen him cross himself before. He did it so simply, with such childlike faith. I could not help smiling as I watched. His eyes met my smile.
You see, we worship the same God in the same spirit, though by different rites.
The meal over, the party were free to run and play in the meadows. Monsieur Paul called me to sit near him under a tree.
If I were to leave Villette and go far away, would you be sorry?
Are you leaving Villette?
Little sister, how long would you remember me if we were separated?
As long as I had memory.
And if I were to go over the seas for 2, 3, 5 years? Should you welcome me on my return?
How could I live in the interval?
And yet I have been hard on you.
I don't know why you say these things. I hid my face with the book, and he said he would talk so no more. Still, the gentleness with which he treated me during the rest of the day went somehow to my heart. It was too tender. It would have been a perfect day, but for that breathing of melancholy. This tarnish was renewed the same evening. Just about sunset, I saw Monsieur Paul walking in the garden, accompanied by Madame Beck. They paced for nearly an hour, he looking grave, she angry. Suddenly, Monsieur Paul came striding towards the schoolhouse. I heard him pass through all the rooms, clashing the doors.
Where is Mademoiselle Lucy?
I was just preparing to do what, after all, I most wished to do in the world. Go to him. When I heard Madame Beck convoy him to the door and dismiss him.
She is not here, mon cousin. She is in bed.
It was me he wanted, me he was seeking, and had not I wanted him too? Why had I stayed still? Why had I let them come between us? A few days later, Madame Beck asked me to do her a little errand. She gave me a pretty basket filled with fine hothouse fruit and an address in the old town.
Please take the petit birthday offering to a Madame Valravon's. Be sure to put the basket in her hands, mon ami.
The clock was tolling 6 when I reached the house of Madame Valravon's. Here was a square which had clearly once been grand, but was now falling into disrepair. An old priest came from the house. He insisted on ushering me into a salon while he fetched the good lady. At last came the tap, tap of a stick, the cloud of a shadow. The creature that came before me might be 3 feet high, but she had no shape. Her face was large, set not upon her shoulders, but before her breast. Hunchbacked, dwarfish, she was adorned and jewelled like a barbarian queen. I delivered my basket and my message.
Return to Madame Beck, and tell her I can buy fruit when I want it.
Now down washed the rain. The thunder crashed near. This storm seemed to have burst at the zenith and rushed down prone. I waited in the cold hallway for it to pass.
Mademoiselle? It would displeasure our benefactor if he knew a stranger was so treated in this house. Let me show you somewhere more comfortable.
The old priest begged me so earnestly, I could not but comply. The small salon, he said, was warmest. I must wait there. I was beginning to fancy that the old priest resembled Père Silas, before whom I had once kneeled in the church. He glanced up at a portrait on the wall, and my eye followed. It showed a woman dressed as a nun. I stared as if gripped.
She was much loved. She's still remembered, still wept.
Who lost this lady?
I will tell you.
The hero of his tale was a former pupil, whom he now called his benefactor. This man had loved pale Justine Marie, who was the daughter of rich parents. But when his father died in debt, the marriage was forbidden. It was Madame Valravon's, that old witch of a grandmother, who had most violently opposed it. The mild Marie gave up her suitor, withdrew to a convent, and died. This was 20 years ago. Some years after Justine Marie's death, ruin had come on her house too. Her old hunchbacked grandmother was left penniless, and might have died, but that the once despised suitor came to the rescue. He had brought her to this house and cared for her, as if he were her only son.
And here, too, this self-sacrificing man shelters me, his old tutor, and Agnes, his old servant. He has given himself to God and to his angel bride.
He raised his eyes to mine, and in that look I understood something. Madame Beck's spurious errand, the old priest accidentally appearing, my introduction to this portrait, the story so quickly volunteered. All these little incidents, taken as they fell, might seem unconnected, but threaded through by that crafty glance, they dropped in a long string like a rosary. What was the connection?
Mademoiselle, I trust you have not far to go through this downpour. You live...
In the Rue Fossette, in Madame Beck's school.
Then you know my pupil, Monsieur Paul.
Is he your benefactor?
And what is more, he was and is the lover, true and constant, of that saint in heaven, Justine Marie. His heart will weep for her always.
The sun broke out pallid and waterish. The rain yet fell, but there was no more tempest. I rose. By the time I reached the school, it was sundown.
And what did you think of Madame Varavance? She hates me because she thinks I am in love with my cousin, Paul. Even if Monsieur Paul wanted to marry me or someone else, he could not do it. You see for yourself. He has too large a family already on his hands. But you must eat. You look quite pale, Miss Lucy. Forget hunchbacked old ladies. And most of all, forget professors.
Forget him? They showed me how good he was. They made of my dear little man a stainless hero. Oh, I yearned to see him again. The very next day gave me my opportunity. Brushing past me in the courtyard, he apologized.
I can hardly expect you to understand my moods, Miss Lucy. You know nothing about me.
Yet I know that you have a pleasant old house in a pleasant old square. I liked it very much, monsieur. It is quiet and solemn.
How do you know this?
Perhaps I dreamt it. If I did, I saw human beings, too. They lived together, these three people, all old, all feeble, all sheltered under one kind wing. Monsieur? I told him now all that I knew. Some minutes passed. He took my hand.
Mademoiselle Lucy, look at me. Knowing me now, all my past, all my responsibilities, having long known my faults, can you and I still be friends?
If Monsieur wants a friend in me, I shall be glad to have a friend in him.
But a close friend, I mean. Intimate and real. When I talk of friendship, I mean true friendship, Lucy.
While he spoke, the tone of his voice, the light of his eye, gave me such a pleasure as I had never felt.
Lucy, did you see a picture in the old house?
I did.
You remember what we saw that night in the garden?
I thought of it when I saw the portrait.
No good living woman, much less a pure, happy spirit, would trouble a friendship like ours. N'est-il pas vrai?
He had called me his friend, his sister. It was well. He might call me what he pleased, so long as he confided in me. But as we grew closer, there were others watching, and they had plans to keep us apart. Monsieur Paul had promised that he was my friend, my brother. How I longed to show how much of the sister was in me. Yet the next day I got from him neither smile nor word. The distance continued for days. Had I misunderstood? I withdrew, forgotten. One evening, I opened my desk. With a weary hand, I turned up its contents. What was this? This pamphlet in lilac? It was a theological work. It preached Romanism. Glancing at the title page, I found the name Père Silas. Of course. The penitent had been with his director. Monsieur Paul had confessed everything to Père Silas, just as I had once confessed to him my pain. My low spirit sank so deep I did not hear the door open.
You see?
Oh.
I called myself your brother. I hardly know what I am. I cannot tell anymore. I know I feel I wish you well, but I must check myself. My best friends point out danger.
Monsieur, listen to me. I am not a heathen. I am not dangerous. You believe in God and Christ and the Bible, and so do I. I would not turn you from your faith. That night, Monsieur Paul and I talked seriously and closely. He was not satisfied when he walked away, but he was made to feel that Protestants were not necessarily the irreverent pagans Père Silas had suggested.
We abase ourselves in our littleness, and we do right. Believe then what you can, believe it as you can. God bless you, Lucy.
A month passed. He came oftener. He spent hours with me. My project to open a school of my own pleased him, though he smiled and called it a dream. Affection and dawning trust fastened our bond. Meanwhile, the two lovers, Paulina de Bassompierre and Dr. John, meant to be distant, but in feeling they too had clearly drawn near.
Ours, Lucy, is a beautiful life, and you shall share it.
I think I have one friend of my own, but I'm not sure. And till I am sure, I will live solitary.
But solitude is sadness.
Heartbreak is worse.
Oh, but I wish Papa knew about Graham, Lucy. I wish. And yet I fear.
One evening, Paulina was in her dressing room, writing to Graham, and I was in the drawing room. Thinking me alone, she had brought me her letter to read. When she saw her father, her tripping step faltered.
Oh, Papa!
How long is it since you became a letter writer, Polly?
I love you, Papa, but I love Graham too, because it is impossible not to love him.
I heard a movement in the adjoining room and opened the door. There stood Dr. John.
Is he very angry, Lucy?
She is very faithful, Graham.
What will be done to me?
Your star must be fortunate. Come.
Papa?
Take her. Take her, John Graham Breton. And may God deal with you as you deal with her.
Let me not delay the happy truth. John Graham Breton and Paulina de Bassompierre were married. Years brought them, with great prosperity, great goodness. Dr. John saw himself live again in a son and daughters. In short, I do but speak the truth when I say that these two lives were blessed. But this is not so for all. On a July morning at the Rue Fossette, we were all assembled in class, waiting for Monsieur Paul. Instead of him, with his swiftness and his fire, there came quietly upon us the cautious Madame Beck.
This morning, there will be no lesson of literature. Your professor, ladies, has decided to leave Europe for an indefinite time.
Oh.
Instead of the usual lesson with Monsieur Paul, you will read English with Mademoiselle Lucy.
A great silence fell, then a murmur. I believe some pupils wept. I was severe. The truth was, I could not do with their tears. Later, I heard it said that he was to sail in a week, that he was bound for the West Indies.
He is a great loss to me, of course, but he insists he must do his duty.
His duty? Why was it his duty to leave? The week wore on. We were told that he was leaving on such a day, that his destination was Basse-Terre in Guadeloupe. The business which called him abroad related to a friend's interests, not his own. Well, I thought as much. The last day broke. Surely he would come to say goodbye. Morning wasted, afternoon came. A little before 5 o'clock, Madame Beck sent for me to translate some English letter. She closed the doors of her chamber. Why this precaution? I listened like the winter wolf. I heard a tread in the vestibule. Madame coughed, spoke louder, but I would not stay. He was come. There he was in the class, saying goodbye. Yet before I could reach him, Madame had stepped out in front of me and hastened him to the door. He was gone. What should I do? Oh, what should I do? What I should have done, I know not. But a little child delivered a note on my knee.
Ere I sail, I must see you. Be ready. My moments are numbered. Besides, I have a private business on hand which I will not share yet with anyone. Not even you.
All that evening I waited. The clock struck 11, and my sobs heaved my heart. They tore their way through.
Miss Lucy, it is past time for retirement.
I am not tired.
Ah, your bed shall be warmed. I shall fetch you a sedative.
Leave me alone. In your hand there is both chill and poison.
You must not marry Paul. He cannot marry.
I knew now she wanted him, and had always wanted him. She was my rival, heart and soul. 2 minutes I stood over Madame, feeling that the whole woman was in my power, because I alone knew what she was. In silence, she left me. The night passed. The following morning, my cheeks and lips were sodden white. My eyes were glassy, and my eyelids swollen and purple. What bodily illness was ever like this pain? He was gone. Madame Beck did not summon me to bed that night. She sent Ginevra Fanshawe, the feather-brained coquette, whose first words inspired the impulse to flee anywhere. Soon I was in my bed, my miserable bed, haunted with quick scorpions. I had not been laid down 5 minutes when Rosine, the portress, brought me something to drink. The beverage was sweet, but too late I tasted a drug. So Madame Beck wanted me quiet for one more night. Maybe she had undercharged the dose, but its result was not what she had intended. Instead of stupor came excitement. I woke in moonlight, wild with a need to escape this den. There was no lock on the huge, heavy door. I wondered as I stepped out on the paved street at the strange ease with which my prison had been forced. My heart was beating fast. I would go to the park. There I would find cool and shadow. Let me seek the park. Yet as I walked through Villette, I found myself with the suddenness of magic, plunged amidst a joyous crowd. Villette was one blaze, one broad illumination, alive with torches, lamps, and crowds. The whole world seemed here. It was a strange scene, stranger than dreams. The park, too, had become a land of enchantment, a forest with sparks of purple and ruby and golden fire gemming its leaves. To be still was not in my power that night, and I drank the elastic night air. In the centre of the park, a crowd of thousands had gathered for a concert. I took my place, happy to be lost in their number. And only now did I see that right before me sat the Bretons and the de Bassompierres. Suddenly Graham turned. I fled. I must not be discovered now. I felt the night's drama was but begun. Further afield, the crowd was more scattered. But who was this? Madame Beck, Père Silas, and Hale, Madame Valravons. Here were the whole conjuration. Let me tell you briefly all I had discovered in the past fortnight. Madame Valravons had once been rich. very rich. At Basse-Terre in Guadeloupe she possessed a large estate, and if it could be looked after by a competent agent of integrity, this estate would in a few years be largely productive. Père Silas took an interest in this for the sake of the church. Madame Beck, for her own sake. But the distance was great, and the climate hazardous. Who could be trusted to do the job? The three self-seekers beset the one unselfish man. They asked but 2 or 3 years. What might be his private pain in leaving Europe, none knew. None cared. Oh, they had taken him. But I would watch them now. I crept closer.
Where is Justine Marie?
Justine Marie is coming. She will be.
Justine Marie? But she was dead. I remembered the painted nun in Monsieur Paul's house. His sad love story.
Ah, she comes.
A girl of Villette stood there. Her cheeks were round, her eyes good, her hair abundant. This girl certainly was not my nun, not the nun of the portrait. This Justine Marie was Monsieur Paul's goddaughter. I had seen her with him in the school garden. I had felt a pang of unease as they linked arms. Again tonight she did not walk alone. Who was with her? I crept closer. They said he was to set sail by the Antigua. Madame Beck said so. She lied. The Antigua was gone, and there stood Monsieur Paul, laughing. Monsieur Paul was the life of the party. But oh, I saw which was his favourite. I saw whom he tended as the apple of his eye. Let him bring them an Indian fortune. They would give him in return a young bride and a rich inheritance. Thus it must be. The revelation was indeed come. It was true I had not heard all this said. But I knew it. Oh, I knew it. Fool. Fool, to believe he could love you. Fool, to hope for anything but shadow solitude. Wrapping my cloak round me, I fled into the night air. During the carnival, I had spied on the great spy herself, Madame Beck. I had heard her talking with Madame Valravens and Père Silas about the young girl, Justine Marie. And then I had seen Monsieur Paul with my own eyes. He did not love me. He loved Justine Marie. He would oversee the estate in Guadeloupe, and then he would return and he would marry her. Midnight was long past. The concert was over. I must hasten to my bed before Madame Beck returned. Only one street lay between me and the Rue Fossette. As I entered it, the sound of a carriage tore up the deep peace of this quarter. The carriage thundered past. But what did I see? Surely something white fluttered from that window. Surely a hand waved a handkerchief. Was that a signal meant for me? Was I known? Inside the schoolhouse, all was still. I sought the dormitory and reached my bed. The next moment, I almost shrieked out loud. Throughout the dormitory, throughout the house, there reigned the stillness of death. Stretched on the 19 beds lay 19 sleeping girls. Only mine, the 20th, should have been empty. What then did I see? What dark shape was lying there? My head reeled, my breath stopped. By the faint night lamp I saw stretched on my bed the nun. I rushed on the haunted couch. I tore her up, I shook her loose, and down she fell. Down all around me, down in shreds and fragments. And I trod her down. The nun was no more than a bolster, dressed in a long black stole and draped with a white veil. To the head bandage was pinned a slip of paper. The nun of the attic bequeaths to Lucy Snow her wardrobe. She will be seen in the Rue Fossette no more. And was this she that had haunted me? She I had seen 3 times. The morning after that remarkable midsummer night, there remained 1 coffee cup unclaimed, 1 pupil missing. High and low was Miss Ginevra Fanshawe sought. It seemed the nymph was vanished, engulfed in the night like a shooting star swallowed up by darkness. It was a case of elopement. Never had I seen Madame Beck so pale. Here was damage to her best interests. Ginevra's uncle, Monsieur de Bassompierre, was already on the track of the fugitives. In the course of the week, the post brought me a note.
I am off, gone like a shot. My uncle made a huge fuss and I had to go down on my knees and everything, but I hope he will come up with the cash soon. Alfred hopes you won't miss him now that he is gone. He's almost grown quite fond of you and apologises if he's caused you pain. He says he found you once in the attic and couldn't resist giving you a little start. Another time he nearly fell out of a tree at your feet. Do you begin to comprehend? Monsieur le Comte de Hamal was the nun. Nearly a year ago, I chanced to tell him the legend, and that gave him the romantic idea of the spectral disguise, which I think you must allow he very cleverly carried out in order to climb the walls and visit me in secret. Oh, and how did you like the nun as bedfellow? I put her there for you myself. Did you shriek? I should have gone mad, but then I believe you feel nothing. Adieu. Rejoice in my good luck. Ginevra de Hamal. P.S. Remember, I'm a countess now. Sounds rather better than Mrs. John Breton.
There were now but 2 days before Monsieur Paul must sail. Would I see him? Would he bear me in mind? As I waited solitary, I felt a thrill. He was close to me in 1 second. If this were my last moment with him, I would not waste it. I loved him well.
Lucy Snow.
Monsieur Paul took my hand in one of his. With the other, he put back my bonnet. He looked into my face.
Paul! Oh. There you are! Come, Paul, come to your friends.
Don't leave me now. My heart will break.
Trust me.
Leave her to me. I will give her a cordial and it will pass. Come, Lucy, come with me to bed.
Leave us alone.
But this will never do. This is wrong. He cannot be. I will send for Père Silas.
Get out of here, woman!
I loved him in his wrath with a passion beyond what I had yet felt. She ran, she whirled from the room. She was gone, and the door shut. The flash of passion was over. He smiled as he told me to wipe my eyes.
It made you very sad, then, to lose your friend.
It kills me to be forgotten, monsieur. All these weary days, I have not heard from you 1 word.
All these weary days, I have not for 1 hour forgotten you. Look at me.
Do I displease your eyes much? He gave me a short, strong answer. Ever after that, I knew what I was for him, and what I might be for the rest of the world. I ceased to care.
You want proof of what I feel? Come with me.
Whither we rambled that day, I scarce knew. Our walk was long, yet seemed short. He did not like leaving me in the Rue Fossette. He feared I should miss him too much. I should grow sad. I promised to do my best to endure. It was before the white doorstep of a very neat abode that Monsieur Paul halted. Taking from his pocket a key, he opened and shut the door behind us. Monsieur Paul showed me a parlour. Tiny, but I thought very pretty. Its delicate walls were tinged like a blush. Its floor was waxed. Sweet violets lent fragrance. Oh.
Do you like it?
Pretty, pretty place. Who lives here?
There is another room you will like.
Monsieur Paul opened a new door and put me in before him. I found myself in a good-sized room containing 2 rows of green benches and desks, with an alley down the centre, leading to a teacher's chair and table. Is this a school?
Will you have the goodness to accept of a few prospectuses for distribution on behalf of a friend of mine?
School for young ladies. Headmistress, Mademoiselle Lucy Snow. Oh.
What do you think? Are you pleased?
I hardly knew what to do. I caressed the soft velvet on his cuff, and then I stroked the hand it surrounded.
You shall live here and have a school. You shall employ yourself while I am away. You shall think of me sometimes. You shall mind your health and happiness for my sake. And when I come back...
There he left a blank. I promised to do all he told me. I promised to work hard and willingly. He watched me still. He gently raised his hand to stroke my hair. It touched my lips in passing. I pressed it close.
No one knows what I have done. The pleasure is consecrated to us two, unshared and unprofane. But you will need pupils. Your first will be my goddaughter, Justine Marie.
I think she must not come here.
Do you know her? What is it? Lucie, tell me.
I spoke. I lacked not words now. I went back to the night in the park, how I had watched, how I had listened. The whole history rushed to him, truthful, ardent, bitter. Before I had half done, he took both my hands. He smiled.
Lucie, take my love. One day, share my life. Be my dearest, first on earth.
Monsieur Paul was away 3 years. And what of those 3 self-seekers? What happened to them? Madame Beck prospered all the days of her life. So did Père Silas. Madame Valrevens fulfilled her 90th year before she died. In the 3 years he was away, I commenced my school. I worked hard. The secret of my success lay in a wonderfully changed life, a relieved heart. By every ship Monsieur Paul wrote, because he loved Lucy and had much to say to her, because he was faithful and thoughtful, because he was tender and true. And now the 3 years are past. Monsieur Paul's return to me is fixed. It is autumn. He is to be with me ere the mists of November come. My school flourishes, my house is ready. Oh, I thought I loved him when he went away. I love him now in another degree. He is more my own. The sun passes the equinox, the days shorten, the leaves grow withered, but he is coming. Frosts appear at night. November has sent its fogs in advance. The wind takes its autumn moan. But he is coming. The skies hang full and dark. The clouds cast themselves into strange forms. I know some signs of the sky. I have noted them ever since childhood. God, watch that sail. Oh, guard it. The wind shrieks out long. Wander as I may through the house this night, I cannot lull the blast. By midnight, all sleepless watchers hear and fear a wild southwest storm. That storm frenzied for 7 days. It did not cease till the Atlantic was strewn with wrecks. Peace. Be still. Oh, 1,000 weepers, praying in agony on waiting shores, listened for that voice, but it was not uttered. Their loved ones did not come. Here, pause. Pause at once. There is enough said. Trouble no quiet, kind heart. Leave sunny imaginations hope. Let it be theirs to conceive the delight born fresh again out of terror. Let them picture union if they wish, and a happy succeeding life. Farewell. Farewell.
In Villette, written by Charlotte Bronte, Lucy was played by Anna Maxwell Martin, Monsieur Paul and Père Silas by Sam Dale, Dr. Graham John Bratton by Benjamin Askew, Paulina, Ginevra and Rosine by Lizzie Watts, and Madame Beck, Mrs. Breton and Madame Valrevans by Joan Walker.